Hey friends, my name is Megan, and if you're new to my channel, welcome to Mustard Seed Homesteading. On my channel, I give weekly garden tours no matter what the season or the weather is. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna go in my garage first. I'm gonna show you all of my seed starts that's growing in there because it is officially seed starting season. And I think every week I'm gonna give you updates on my seed starts in the garage. And we're gonna go up there. I have a few turnips that I want to harvest, and we're gonna see what's been going on because the weather can't seem to make up its mind. It's been warm and then cold and then warm and then cold. So we're gonna see how the plants are doing. So let's get started. All right, friends, let's go ahead and start in the garage in my little seed starting section. I'm going to start over here because I want to explain to you what I'm doing with the ginger and the turmeric because I put some new pieces out. I know I shared it in the last tour, but I did put out some new pieces. So last summer was my first time ever growing ginger and turmeric, and I grew them in grow bags, and they came out beautiful. I was very surprised, very excited. So my goal here is to take pieces that I grew, which these two are pieces that I grew. These are actually the old original pieces. I'm just experimenting here. I'm going to try those too. Now, these are the pieces that I grew, and I'm going to replant these this year, but just in case something happens and they don't grow, because I am learning here with ginger and turmeric, I bought organic pieces from Azure Standard, and I'm going to plant these as kind of like an insurance just to make sure that I have some to harvest. And if these that I harvested over the summer fall time do good, then I know I won't have to buy these at all, and I can just continue to regrow pieces that I harvested. So that's what I'm doing with the ginger and the turmeric. Now we're gonna go over here to my racks, and we're gonna start from the top and work our way down. I did share these last week. These are all onions, leeks, and shallots. Now this one has a couple of, like, this is dill, and back here is the jicama. These still haven't popped up yet, so I might actually need to cover these because I had to take the dome off this one because they were touching the tops. I put the domes back on these because there was a few that I felt needed to still germinate, so I'm just going to cover these for a little bit. But I'm really happy with how much everything germinated. There's a few new varieties in this one, and I'm going to take note of which ones germinated very well. Like, for instance, this one, this is a new one, Red Rock Onion. This one, my goodness, the germination is amazing. So I'm definitely taking note of the varieties that do very well versus the ones that don't, so that I can grow the ones that did very well. This one has to be my most exciting shelf. These are all peppers. And then, you guys, do you remember, if you saw last week's video on the garden tour and harvest, do you remember my tomatoes? They were all white and kind of leggy. You guys, look how beautiful they are. So just for those that didn't see last week's tour, if you're new, I had just planted these a little while back, and we left out of town for 2 days. I mean, just 2 days. And when I came home, the electricity went out for some reason, and my grow lights right here did not turn back on. So these were all white, very thin, and they were pointing towards that window over there. And so I came home, and no kidding, I freaked out. So what I did was I watered the bottom. I added a little bit more soil to some of the cups that I felt they needed some, you know, help with standing up. And then what I did was I took some of this. I like this brand a lot. I use a lot of different brands, but this one I use for my seedlings. Let me get some better lighting here. Okay, let me go outside. So I use this Fox Farm. Let me get a better grip. Okay. It's a 6 4-4. Now it does have the feeding or how much like teaspoon, tablespoon for seedlings. And so I actually did a half of that because these are so small. And all I did was put it at the bottom of the tray and they came out beautiful. So they're back and running up. I don't have to replant any new ones. I'm super happy. Now you will see, and I think I mentioned this last week too, they are still pretty long. So what I'm gonna be doing is once a lot of these sprout, you can see there's still like some baby ones and still some new ones that are sprouting. As soon as a lot of them sprout and they get their first set of true leaves, let me see if I can, but this right here is the first set of true leaves. So once a lot of these have their first set of true leaves, that's when I'm gonna start taking each cup and I'm gonna up pot the tomato seedlings. And yes, this is a lot of tomatoes. So I'm gonna be very busy with up potting these tomato seedlings, but I'm very happy, you guys. I'm so happy that they ended up being okay, because I was really quite concerned for a while there. And then here are all the pepper seedlings. These are doing very well too. Now these do take longer to germinate than the tomatoes. So I do have the dome still on these, but I took them off so that you guys could see how well they're growing. I'm taking notice of the varieties that are growing quicker than others that are, doing better. I am a little sad to say, if you see all the peppers, 1, 2, 3, and all that, those are the seeds that I saved. For some reason, they're not germinating, so I'm a little sad. I mean, I have a little bit of time because sometimes peppers do take a really long time. So we'll see. If they don't, that's fine. My feelings aren't hurt. Just deal with it. But I'm happy these are germinating. I'm so looking forward to peppers, you guys. And the next shelf is, let's see, over here's all the basil and the flowers that we planted. You can see a lot of it has already sprouted. Let me see if I can get some close-ups here. You can see a lot of the basil back there is sprouting very beautifully. And then this right here is the cilantro. I don't see that one yet, but the flowers are all sprouting really well. So I'm very happy to see that, because basil is a phenomenal companion plant. It is in my garden every year. The reason they're by themselves is because I had purchased some seed at the dollar store after I'd already planted a bunch of tomato seeds and onions. So these are a bush tomato. So I'm gonna just try this out and see how I like it. And then you guys, I don't know what it is with chives or scallions, but I have a very difficult time germinating scallions and chives. So I'm like, you know what, let me try the Dollar Tree. And you probably can't see it. Maybe you can. Oops, sorry. It's like right here. I'm starting to see something sprout. So I'm hoping that I can germinate some chives and grow some in my garden, because that would just be wonderful to have. And then these two right here are just filled with soil. I filled these so that I could get them ready for the next planting. These I'm excited to share with you because I'm trying to grow my own sweet potato slips, and I'm already starting to see some. So I have the domes on to keep the warmth, because that is what helps. Plus I have the heat mats underneath it to help warm up the soil. But let me take the domes off and I'll show you what's been growing. So look, you guys, do you see it? It's right there. I am so happy that they're starting to grow. There's a few spots. There's one right here. And I just see like a few pieces on the potatoes that are looking like something will grow. So while I am really happy about that, and I think over here, these over here are taking a long time, but I do see like there's something growing on there. I'm going to keep an eye on these. I did go ahead, because it's just how I am. I went ahead and I did purchase a couple of slips, but I didn't purchase so much that if and when these do grow, that I can also use these to plant as well. So, but I thought I'd give you an update on these because I've been waiting for these to start growing, and they finally are. Real quick, you guys, because I'm covering up the basil. Look at that purple basil. This is the red Reuben. It is a gorgeous basil. If you haven't seen that basil video that I made, there's so many beautiful varieties that I planted. You definitely should check it out. Basil is such an important companion plant to me, anyways, in the garden. And definitely a great herb with some tomato, mozzarella, and balsamic vinegar. I'm getting really hungry. It's so good. And then lastly, I'm not sure if I've ever showed this, but I have another seed rack right here because you can never have too many seed racks. I mean, you really can't. But I brought all of those plants that were outside, some of my cooler weather crops, back inside because we just had some very, very cold temperatures. But everything is looking really good so far. Now, I will say I've been dealing with the aphids. I cannot stand them. So last night I just blasted them with water. It's really kind of all I do. Otherwise, what I will do to get them off is I will use, here, where's my spray? Well, there's neem oil. So I have a neem oil in here. It's not my preferred method. My other preferred method is just taking some soap, some water with this soap. Let me show you real quick. It's the Dr. Bronner's Pure Castle soap, if I'm saying that correctly. But it's just got peppermint in there. And I've noticed that this has helped without harming the plant. I mean, the neem oil doesn't harm the plant. I've just preferred this better. It seems to help, but you guys, really, for me, there's no like perfect solution for aphids. They're just a pain in the butt, and I've just learned to deal with it, and I just have to keep an eye on my seedlings and, you know, just get them off with water or the peppermint spray. I mean, there's really not a whole lot that you can do. Now, I will say also, it has helped. Look at that lettuce, you guys. I'm like squirrel. I can't focus on one thing at a time. What does help is taking them outside. And so what I'm probably going to do, because we're going to be in the 40s and 50s this week, I'll definitely be taking these outside. That does help a little bit. But unfortunately, I had to bring them in because they were so cold. And so we got some more aphids on them. The other thing that I've used is a paintbrush. Now, if you have a lot of plants, this would just be tedious, and who has the time to sit here and brush aphids off a plant? But if you had a few plants that had aphids, or you were growing just a few, sometimes I would just brush them off and then spray the soil to try to kill the eggs with the soap or something. And that has helped too, so I thought I'd share. And real quick, I do want to show this to you, and I failed to use it this week because it was such a busy week, but I bought these from the dollar store. They're little covers for plants. I'm going to probably, if we hit cold temps again, I'm going to put these over the lettuces because look how cute they are. So on the tops, they have this where you can, you know, it can get some air in there and not be completely covered. And then you probably, I don't know if you can see, there's holes right here. Maybe you can see that, maybe not. There's holes right here, and so you can put a staple down or something down to keep these from blowing because these are obviously very flimsy. So I bought a couple just to try, and if I like them, I might buy a few more. So just thought I'd share that with you. So we're gonna just go through these real quick. I'm gonna show you a few things, what happens to plants when they don't get watered. You can see I have the hose here. I actually should have watered yesterday, but again, it was busy. So I'm going to show you a prime example of when plants don't get watered. Now these are starting to look like they're perking up. Broccoli is the best example of a dramatic plant when it's not watered. I think it's hilarious and it cracks me up, honestly. But you can see, well, see, these are starting to not droop as much, but these were so droopy. You can kind of see it right here. When they're not watered, they droop. I mean, most plants droop, but broccoli to me is, like I said, it's a little dramatic. It's cute. But these are still going strong. I'm very happy to see them. Just really hoping and waiting for the broccoli heads to start popping up. And here you can see, you see how droopy it is. They're so dramatic. So I just watered these. I'm going to have to water a whole bunch today because it was just too cold to water, so I haven't, and we're now starting to get a little bit of some warmer temperatures, so I'm going to go ahead and water these. I just wanted to take a minute and show you these strawberry plants. Look at how beautiful and lush they look. I can't wait for strawberries. Now, a lot of these I started from seeds. Some of these I did purchase, I think 2 years ago now. And then there's a few plants that I started from just the runners. I've shared before that if you either started a strawberry plant or purchased one, you can multiply your strawberry plants from just the runners. There's no need to continue to purchase strawberry starts because you can just reproduce them from the runners. And here's my yarrow in my perennial tower. It's the first time I've grown this, but so far I'm really liking it. It seems to hold up in the cooler weather, so that's really good to see. I still have to plant something down here. If you know of a perennial plant that you suggest that I put in the bottom, because I want to make this whole tower perennials, please leave them down below. I believe this one, I'm trying to remember what I planted here. So this is stinging nettle, and then this is marshmallow, and then we have the yarrow right here, and then we have the mint. I have mint right here on top. So everything's pretty much taken up except for this bottom one. I just haven't figured out what to put there. I haven't really talked a lot about my grow bags here recently, but let me just tell you what I plan to do with these bags, because I do have all of them here for specific reasons. So these with the trellises are going to be all of my snap peas. And then these three right here are going to be specifically for leeks. They did very well in these bags last year. I harvested actually my largest leek out of one of these grow bags. And then this one with the trellis is also going to be a snap pea. And then what I started doing with some of my bags and green stalks is designating it for specific vegetables or fruit or herbs that I want to grow. And these four right here are going to be 2 ginger and 2 turmeric, and they are designated just for those. And then these 2 are kind of whatever I want. I may put leeks and onions in these. I'm not 100% sure yet. And then these 2 that look like a hot mess and completely dead, they're not. These are actually my asparaguses. Now these are perennials. I'm trying to see if any has poked through. They haven't yet, but they're going to. One is already 3 years old, and the other one is 2 years old. You want at least 3 years for these plants to establish themselves for you to start harvesting the asparagus. But you guys, not that I don't take care of these, I do, but they are kind of hands-off. And this is what I mean about having perennial plants. Not only are they're just plants that keep coming back every year, especially edible ones like this, but they don't require a ton of hands-on work. So I'm looking forward to the asparagus growing this spring. And these 4 empty green stalks are going to be filled with all onions. I've designated them for onions. So I'm going to do partial of the seed starts. I also purchased a few from Dixondale Farms because I want to try some other varieties and just compare a lot of different types of onions. So that's what we're going to be doing in those. And then here are the 2 kale and broccolis. I might harvest a few kale leaves because I have one more tray I still need to fill up. But this is what I mean about dramatic. See, they're kind of droopy right here. But my daughter just watered them a little bit ago and they're starting to firm up. But some of them were looking quite sad a little bit ago. And then these are the 4 garlics. They are doing beautiful. Cannot wait to harvest those. I will definitely be doing a specific video on harvesting the garlic because I not only planted 4 green stalks of garlic, but I have an entire bed full of garlic and 2 pallets of buckets of garlic in the very back. I thought I'd share real quick. This is one of my blueberry plants that I have right here by our garage entrance. We have a raspberry here, raspberry, and 2 blueberries. And this one, because of the weather that we had, was already starting to show blooms. You can see it's so pretty. I can't wait for the blueberries to come. We had a really nice harvest of blueberries just from this grow bag last year. So I'm looking forward to getting those. Something I do want to quickly share, and I never share this in my video, is my soils. So This is what I've always used. It is the Bacto soil. Let's see, Bacto Light. Now, this soil you cannot get at the big box stores, unfortunately. You'd have to go on their website. I do leave a link in the description below so that you can put in your zip code and see where you can find it if you're interested. I'm not affiliated with this company at all. It's just a soil that I've used and it's worked very well. It's what I have with my seedlings right now. But then this one, I started using this over, I think it was the summertime. It is the organic Kellogg's. You can't really see it, but I have like a ton of bags on top of it. So, but this one I purchased from Home Depot. It is the Kellogg's brand. Let me see. Oh yeah, right here. You see it, the Kellogg brand. And this has done very well too. I'm very happy with this soil as well. Now, this next one, I'm super excited about trying because it is more expensive. I wish it wasn't, but it is. It is the Happy Frog. So this is the same brand that I showed you for the fertilizer in the garage that I use for my seed starts. This is just your all-purpose type of potting soil. And then this one I've heard really great things about. It's the Ocean Forest from Fox Farm. And it just has a lot of good stuff in there. So I bought a few to experiment and see how well these do compared to each other, because Fox Farm is more expensive, but Bacto is also very expensive, and then Kellogg's is my least expensive. So I'm going to be doing some experimenting. I might end up doing a whole bed of this, a whole bed of this, and a whole bed of, well, Bacto, I've been doing Bacto, and just kind of compare. I'm not really sure, but I had to get a few just to try them out. And then for compost, I don't make my own yet. I've been using Black Cow. I've shared this in previous videos. I love this stuff. I get mine at either Home Depot or Lowe's, and so it's not super expensive, but it's done very well in my garden, so I keep using it. For the backyard garden, everything seems to be the same and doing very well, minus them being dramatic because they need some water. I haven't watered because it's just been too cold, but I'm probably more than likely either today or tomorrow I'm going to water them with my water grids and get these going, because we're going to be, like I said, hitting a little bit of some warmer temps this week. But overall, everything's doing really well. I just got to get them watered, and they need some warmer temps. And the same with this bed. Look at all these broccoli. You know, I'm really glad that I'm showing this, because I know for me, when I was a new gardener, when my broccoli did this, I freaked out. I was like, oh my gosh, what happened? And then I watered it, and literally within minutes, it was standing firm again. And I'm like, oh, okay, it needed water. But I didn't know that because I was a new gardener and I had no clue. So all these, like if you're a new gardener watching this, they all look like they're dying or dead, but they're not. They just need some water. So the first thing you want to do whenever you see your plant drooping like this, just water it, and you'll see it'll perk right back up. Now, if it doesn't perk right back up, then that means there's something else going wrong, but I feel like most of the time that's what it is. It just needs water. And this bed is still going strong. Nothing, you know, too big going on, just because we've had some cold temps, but I am taking notice of certain varieties. Like this is the broccoli Waltham 29, but if you notice, it's not as droopy, and I haven't watered this. So I do take notice of certain varieties that do better than others, and this one, Waltham 29, seems to do very well. And then I haven't seen any of the pea shoots, snap peas, pop up here or over there yet, but that's just because it's been really cold, and I definitely do need to water those as well. Real quick, I was just thinking this. as a fourth year gardener, in the very beginning, I soaked up a lot of videos, a lot of reading, a lot of looking up things. And while they were all very helpful, and I still do those things, I've just learned to be the best student in my garden. And as I've experimented and made a lot of mistakes, I have learned so much from that. And so I just want to encourage you, let your garden be your teacher and be the best student that your garden has ever had. All right, now this sweet little bed of mine. So I got a broccoli head over here, 2 of them actually, they're still there. They haven't gone nowhere. But this one looks like it almost might start flowering, but I'm not really sure, so I'll keep an eye on it. But you can see the little shoots on the side. I love broccoli. It's my favorite thing to grow. One of my favorite things to grow. And then this one looks really good. The head looks very compact and together, so I'm happy with how this is turning out. But I'm going to keep an eye on these beds. But we're going to go ahead and harvest 2. I think there was 2 turnips that I wanted to harvest. Look at how beautiful that greenery is. So we're going to go ahead and grab this one. They're not very large, but like I said last week, oh my goodness. Like I said last week, I'm not going to be putting these on the edges next time. I'm going to just have them in their own square. And then here's the other one we're going to harvest real quick. So I'm actually pretty happy though, considering this is my first time growing them. I think they turned out pretty decent. So I'm not too bummed. They're actually pretty good. And then the rest of the garden, I'm just going to show you what's going on. The Brussels sprouts seem to still be going strong. I'm just going to hope that I actually get Brussels sprouts this year, because last year they didn't turn out as well as I wanted to. But the onions are doing really well. Look at these onions. They're so gorgeous. I love onions. And then the comfrey box is doing really good. Now it slowed down because it was cold, but this is another great perennial plant. This whole box is comfrey and it's gorgeous. During the summertime, the flowers that come up is just so pretty. And then this bed as well is still going strong. There's a few that you can see, look at, they got eaten. And I just planted these. These are the Napa cabbage. And I know it's not the squirrels. I think they're slugs that are eating them. So I'm going to have to pluck those out and put some new ones. Now I am going to be starting some more spring starts. But I do have a lot in the garage, as you saw. So I'm just constantly going to keep planting stuff just in case. And I don't think I shared this the last tour, because when I planted all those bags and buckets in the very back, I also added these kales. They look very small, but that's because it's been cold. So these are the blue dazzling kale. I've never grown blue dazzling kale. For the most part, I do very well growing kale. So I'm hoping these do very good. And this bed as well is the same. This kale is taken off. I'm really happy to see this one. I'm not going to harvest this one just yet. I'm going to let this grow more. But this bed is the majority broccoli and kale. And they're all doing really well. This one's sad. It needs water. It's my broccoli. So we got to get these watered. Now this one's doing really good. This one doesn't seem to be acting dramatic. I'm wondering if that's the same, because sometimes I label the beds. Sometimes I do not label all of them, but they're in my planner. So if I go to my planner, I'll know what that is. So that might be a different variety. I'm not really sure. But overall, it's going good. And all the way back here towards the woods, I have all of my pallets with the bags and all the buckets. Everything that I shared last week is pretty much the same. If you're new, I just planted these a few weeks ago because I had squirrels attack everything back in the fall, and I just hadn't planted until I figured out a solution, and I finally did. So all these buckets are kale, and not much has happened because, as I keep saying, it's been cold, but everything is still there, so that's good. So if we get some warmer temperatures, I'm hoping a lot of these will start to grow. Now, technically, these are not covered. It gets really cold, so I don't really expect a whole lot. I just keep planting in these. Hopefully by the spring, a lot of my cooler crops back here will start to really flourish. But I'm one that loves to always try, and I always love to experiment. So I'm gonna, just plant back here as much as I can and see if anything comes of it. Now these are all, that's still the cauliflower, that's still doing pretty good. These are all cabbages. Some of them got eaten by, I think, a slug. So they like that slow bulk cabbage for some reason. But there is one down here, let me show you, that's going pretty strong. This is a stonehead cabbage. I had learned about this from another video, and they had really great success with it. Now, I think they're out of Ohio, and I can't remember the name of the channel, but I'm liking it so far. And if it does well, then this is going to be one of my new favorite cabbages. All right, friends, let's go ahead and see what we got today. All right, so we got ourselves more turnips. I'm very happy about these. Now, I don't know if you can eat the leaves. I'm going to have to look that up. See, I don't know everything about gardening, so I'm going to have to look that up because the leaves look so beautiful. And I could totally see myself sauteing them with garlic and onion and some olive oil. But I did try the turnip that we harvested last week. I sauteed it with some Swiss chard that we harvested weeks ago, and it was so delicious. And so that's probably what I'm going to do with these as well. And then we got ourselves some more kale. So I just need one more tray of kale to put into the freezer so that I can put it into the freeze dryer. I know this won't be enough for another tray, so maybe next week I'll be able to fill one up. But I'm really happy with this. So friends, thanks so much for stopping by, and I really look forward to seeing you guys next time. And always remember, be encouraged, stay encouraged, and always stay inspired. And I'll see y'all next time. Bye. Seed starting time has officially started.